Let's get sweaty.
Moving into the actual Shenmue news, we've got we're trying to sort of promote Shenmue 1 and 2 on GOG. We're going to give this a mention here, guys. So
Let me put it
if
up.
you use, is it, what's the full name? Is it Games
It's
on something?
gog.com, G-O-G.com.
What's the G stand for?
I have absolutely no idea.
Games on something, right? Sure it is. Galaxy of Games. There you go, from Rhino. So if you're a Galaxy of Games member, Matt's going to pull it up on the screen. I can't see it yet, Matt, so I don't know if you have yet.
It should be popping up right now for
there you
everybody.
Go. Yeah. So you can see it's third in the list there. I don't know what sort of order this is in, but basically Shenmue 1 and 2 aren't currently on GOG. So elsewhere, I believe there's DRM with that particular PC version of the game, right?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
That's correct.
So we're trying to... I thought it was Good Old Games. That's it. I'm sure it's good old games. Yeah.
I think it... I don't know. I've never bothered to try and find out. I probably should, really.
It's Good Old Games. Yeah, that makes sense. So basically if you use this, log in and just wish list, or whatever the phrasing is on GOG, Shenmue 1 and 2. And it's just a little thing we're trying to do to sort of promote the game a little bit more, I suppose. If anything was to happen, it goes on GOG. A few more sales there, I'd have thought.
Yeah.
I'd buy it again.
Can't... so would I. I need to buy 3 on there, actually. I haven't done it yet. Never mind.
Yeah. That's where we could actually get codes as well, to assume like Steam, to give away. Second news article. You've only got a couple of days left on this now. We did mention this in the podcast we did with Stu, which we'll mention in a second. But this is the Retro Gamer Top 100. I've linked the actual news article I made myself here, which is describes everything you need to do basically. So it's very simple. Just send an email with the subject 100, I think it was, or top 100. Just whatever it tells you to do in that article. Make sure you do that,
yeah.
and then just list your 20 top games of all time from the inauguration, if that's like the word for like the first thing of video games, all the way up until Xbox, the original Xbox era, that sort of era. So GameCube, PS2, etc. Just list your top 20 and put Shenmue 1 at the top, of course. Shenmue 2 second or whatever. I'm just saying that you can't say Shenmue 3 because it's past the timeline, but just go 1 and 2 at least as your top 2. Dojo show I just mentioned with Stu, latest one, season 4. We kicked it off. I think it aired. Was it last Monday? So like this. Last Tuesday. I think
last Tuesday. Yeah, so just under a week ago.
So if you've not seen it yet, check that one out. It's a really good show. We, what did we do again, Matt? We watched the GDC. Yeah, with Yu Suzuki, and just had a little bit of a chat about Yu Suzuki, about his retro games, and obviously about Shenmue with the chapter tiles and all that sort of stuff. With music and a little bit of a quiz thrown in. I think it's a pretty good show. Yeah. Actual Shenmue news again now. So Ryo Hazuki had a little reference in Like Dragon Infinite Wealth. You talk about this one, Matt, because you did a video on this one.
Yeah, I did a video on it. This is a very, I have to say, very well done Easter egg in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. So in the game, very early on, you can start listening to podcasts or music, and you pick these up as you go. You can buy them in game, whatever. And one of them, they're talking about their trip around Japan, and then somebody says, "Oh, I'm living in Hawaii," and I came across this kid. But then there's this kid asking about sailors at the harbour when he's having his coffee, and he's going from place to place to place, asking everybody, "Do you know where sailors are? Do you know where sailors are? Do you know where the sailors are?" And he's like, "Dude, it's the harbour." I won't spoil it, but if you listen to it, we've got the video on our YouTube channel, and we've got my analysis video on it as well. It's a very well done Easter egg in Like a Dragon. I don't know who's responsible for it, but whoever it is, if you're watching, thank you very much, because it's brilliant, and it's actually been made with... It's very tongue-in-cheek, ripping the sailors a little bit, but also talking a little bit about a boat trip east, and it makes very specific mention of Rio's jacket in it as well. Beautifully done, lovingly done. Does it mean anything more? Are Sega getting interested in this sort of thing? I don't know. It's unlikely, which then sort of feeds into the video I released on Saturday, where I talked about whether I think Sega are avoiding Shenmue or not. I won't go too much into that video. You can pick it up yourself. I do think they probably are, and they are making excuses. But we'll leave that point there. The Easter egg is brilliantly done, and wow worth a listen if you haven't got to it already, or if you've got Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, make sure you play it in game because it's quite funny.
You've got it right, Matt. Have you
Yes.
played it yet in the game?
I've actually captured the footage. I need to get it off my PlayStation and move it over.
Oh, cool. Very good, very good. And it is the first episode of whatever, like the in-game podcast.
Yes, it is.
Cool. Yeah, very good. Yeah, quality Easter egg, 10 out of 10, like Clunky says there. Moving on now, and this is going to lead into sort of the discussion topic for today as Matt starts playing Shenmue 3's Battle Rally. But we had a couple of tweets from Jason DeMarco. So occasionally he does these Larry's like, and ask me anything, I'm a bit bored. You can ask me any questions and I'll try and answer them. Nathan24, or 24 Nathan, he asked Jason, I think you've got it on the screen there, would Crunchyroll have to seek any permissions or rights from Adult Swim before making a Shenmue Anime Season 2? And Jason replied, yes, and we would grant them, but they will never do that. So, what does that mean, Matt? It's a difficult one, isn't it?
It's really tricky because it says to me that Adult Swim have a very big say in what happens to Season 2. I say Adult Swim, Warner Brothers Discovery, because Adult Swim's headed up by Jason DeMarco, who's he's like executive vice president there or something. So if it's down to him, I'm going to make this very clear, if it's down to him, Season 2 would be being made right now, and James and I would be planning how the hell we're going to cover another 13 episodes week to week. It's not. The paymasters at Warner Brothers Discovery nixed this. It wasn't Jason DeMarco. But they hold the rights to it. So it says to me that if anybody wanted to make a Season 2, they would have to go to Adult Swim, Warner Brothers Discovery to do it. The issue is, and I don't understand why Crunchyroll wouldn't bother with it, whether they just don't feel it's worth their time, because they do hundreds of anime on there. It's like the Netflix for anime. I've said this before. Is Shenmue worth their money in terms of the return they would get when you think of some of the other anime that they push? I don't know. It's difficult because it was popular. And at one point, it was quoted to be getting 1 million views a week, which isn't bad.
And it's their own original, really, wasn't it? It was a Crunchyroll original. And I don't think they did many originals. I think it was one of the first originals, along with like Blade Runner and whatnot. And I'm sure Jason said it was the best performing Crunchyroll original, right?
It was their best performing Adult Swim original. And what I think part of the problem is Crunchyroll used to be under the Warner Brothers Discovery umbrella or Warner Brothers umbrella and then got bought out by Sony. So now they're in direct competition with each other. So this, Shenmue the Anime, I think was part of the deal before this all went through. And then it went through and it was sort of going... the transaction happened as this was being made sort of thing, possibly. I don't know my timeline, so I could be talking utter nonsense here. But now they're in direct competition. Are they going to want to pick up something like that? But then, as you say, it's they were involved in this project, so why wouldn't they? It's really weird.
Yeah.
But I will...
Well, you've got two parties, really. I mean, you've got one party, the Adult Swim party, that have said poo-poo because tax write-offs and whatnot from Warner Discovery, and they happen to be under that umbrella, and they seemingly own the property there, Shenmue the animation. But Crunchyroll, when Adult Swim wasn't under that umbrella, tag teamed basically to release it on their subscription model.
Exactly.
For the most views, I guess, and that's where the Japanese dub was. Because obviously the Adult Swim version was like broadcasted on TV, as far as I'm aware.
In
whatever.
America, Toonami.
Yeah. So now they've split, and like you're saying there, there's competition there. But Jason's saying that Crunchyroll technically could say, well, that show did well for us. Can we buy it back off you? Sort of a thing. And own the property, I guess. And then that would leave... Yeah, that would exchange hands, I guess. And Adult Swim wouldn't be involved anymore, but it'd be a Crunchyroll original with TMS who did the animation or whatever, and we could get season 2 like that. But how do you convince Crunchyroll to do that? According to Jason DeMarco here, they will never do that. So
we need to make a lot of noise. I also wonder, spitballing idea here a little bit, whether, because Netflix like reviving dead anime, they've done it a few times, so there's nothing to say that another company couldn't pick it up. Because if if they
Doesn't
came
have to
in
be
with the
Crunchyroll.
right money with the rights, who says that like a Netflix couldn't do it? The only issue you've got then is you've got season 1 on Crunchyroll and then like potentially season 2 somewhere else. But quite fucking frankly, I couldn't give two shits because.
Well, would they have to buy the rights to the first season then?
Well,
Whoever did that?
maybe they could, like as part of the deal, say like, can we have the second? Yeah, can we have the first and second season on here? Pay a bit more money for it potentially, but that might well work as well, I guess. Bloody shirts in the way. So I don't know. I think I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I think we got more chance of a fourth game when we do an anime at this point. But all the time that Jason DeMarco's there, there's a chance. He'll be pushing Shenmue. He loved it. He got really good feedback from it, which will come onto a tweet I'm going to show in a minute. Yeah. And it did quite well. So, and eventually they're going to need more content at some point. So, while I think it's 98% not going to happen, there is a small chance it could happen. But it's then ironic coming sort of away from that news section into another tweet, which he put out a few days later, is actually he's received the most positive feedback for Shenmue among other projects. So,
considering the mountain of projects he's been involved in, right?
Yeah, he's been involved in hundreds upon hundreds of projects, right? There's some big anime in that list. Blade Runner's massive. Doom's pretty bloody big in terms of anime.
I'm sure some of the others are that we haven't heard of.
You probably are.
In the anime team.
I don't know anime. I don't have a bloody clue about anime. I'll be straight up with you. But it's just very weird. Very, very weird. And I also wonder they won't want to bring it back too soon because I think there's a certain amount of time with the tax write-off. You have to leave it dormant before we can bring something back because I think they will hammer you. So I don't know. It's, as I say, I think a fourth game is more likely than Shenmue Anime Season 2, unfortunately. And going even further back, it was pretty much in pre-production a couple of years ago, which really pissed everybody off.
Heartbreaking, isn't it?
So
it's heartbreaking.
We'll see. But the whole point of the tweet-a-thons, the whole point of everything is to make noise around Shenmue 4 and Shenmue Anime 2. So, yeah, here we are. This is what we're doing. We are, I think, in a very big year for Shenmue 4. I think we need an announcement this year. I've said this quite publicly.